vaccination as it helps the as it helps the body to recognize and eliminate pathogenic microorganisms. Disease control on a large scale can be achieved by vaccination. Prevention of epidemics is possible only by vaccination. Hybridization is an effective means of combining together the desirable character of two or more varieties. New genetic combination of already existing character and new genetic variation can be created by hybridization. Hybridization exploits and utilizes hybrid vigor. Antibiotics are secondary metabolites of therapeutic importance produced in small amount by certain microbes like bacteria, fungi, and a few algae. They inhibit growth of other microbial pathogens like fungi and bacteria. Thus, they are antifungal and antibacterial in nature. Antibiotics are used in treatment of deadly disease like plague, whooping cough, diphtheria, leprosy, etc. Transgenic plants are genetically engineered to carry various described traits. Engineered. They are resistant to bacterial and viral diseases, example tomato, potato, etc. Insect pest, bt, cotton. Herbicides, example maize and wheat, and abiotic stresses. Transgenic plant can be used as bioreactors or factories. Molecular farming for production of novel drugs like interferons, humanized antibodies against infective again like HIV, amino acid, and immunotherapeutic drugs. Some transgenic plants have improved nutritional qualities. Example golden rice and golden mustard are biofortified with vitamin A. Transgenic plants like flavored, savored tomato have been engineered to have more shelf life. Transgenic plants also produce edible vaccines, example potato, tomato, etc. Transgenic animals are genetically modified animals that are used in a wide range of fields in the field of medical research. Transgenic animals like mice are used to identify the function to specific factors through over or under expression of a modified gene. The inserted transgene they are designed to study how genes contribute to the development of disease. These animals are used to investigate development of diseases like cancer, cystic fibrosis, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. In toxicology field, they are used for detection of toxicants. They are used as responsive test animals. Transgenic animals are used to evaluate a specific genetic change in molecular biology study. In pharmaceutical industry, transgenic animals are used for targeted production of pharmaceutical proteins, drug production, and product efficiency testing. They are also used in study of mammalian developmental genetics. Transgenic, transgenic farm animals like cattle, sheep, poultry, pigs, etc. exhibit many desirable traits, improved quantity and quality of meat, improved quality and quantity of milk, more egg production, better quality of quantity of wool, disease resistance, production of low cost pharmaceuticals and biologicals. That's our is what it is, significance, functions and importance. That is our significance, functions and importance. नाउ अभी हम थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चन में से पढ़ के देखेंगे कि क्या क्या है. It is importance, significance and function. Importance, significance and function. Right, a function of blood. Function of blood क्या होता है? Let's check it out. Write a function of blood. Write the function of blood. Okay, then it's what is function of blood?
Blood functions primarily as a transportation system, carrying oxygen and nutrients to cells throughout the body while simultaneously removing waste products like carbon dioxide, and also plays a crucial role in immune response and regulating body temperature. Key functions of blood include 1. Oxygen transport. Red blood cells in the blood carry oxygen from the lungs to tissues throughout the body. 2. Carbon dioxide transport. Blood carries carbon dioxide, a waste product, from tissues to the lungs for exhalation. 3. Nutrient transport. Blood delivers essential nutrients like glucose, amino acids, and vitamins absorbed from the digestive system to cells. 4. Hormone transport. Hormones secreted by endocrine glands are transported throughout the body via blood to reach their target organs. 5. Immune function. White blood cells, leukocytes, in the blood defend against infection by identifying and destroying pathogens. 6. Blood clotting. Platelets in the blood activate a clotting cascade to seal wounds and prevent excessive blood loss. 7. pH regulation. Blood helps maintain the body's pH balance by buffering against fluctuations in acidity. And 8. Temperature regulation. Blood circulation helps distribute heat throughout the body, assisting in maintaining a stable core temperature. Generative AI is experimental. Content generated may be inaccurate, misleading, or offensive.
Function of blood. Function of blood.
Antibody functions like it provides oxygen to the cells. Blood absorbs oxygen from the lungs and transport it to different cells of the body. Second, removal of waste. The waste carbon dioxide moves from the blood to the lungs and exhaled. Blood enters.
Professor Dave here. Let's learn about blood.
He knows a lot about the science stuff. Professor Dave explains.
Of all the substances within the human body, blood is one of the more familiar ones, as we've all had an injury that involves bleeding. For a long time, it was not well understood exactly what blood is, or what it does. We just knew that if you lose enough of it,
सब भाषा समझ नहीं आ रहा मन्ना. Okay, next. Significance, importance of function of oxytocin.
Oxytocin
Okay, then. That's
many functions, including 1. Physical functions. Oxytocin is a hormone that stimulates uterine contractions during labor and childbirth, and breast tissue contractions to aid in lactation. It can also be used as a medication to help start or continue labor, control bleeding after delivery, and help with milk secretion in breastfeeding. 2. Chemical messenger. Oxytocin acts as a chemical messenger in the brain, influencing human behaviors and social interactions. These include sexual arousal, recognition, trust, romantic attachment, parent-infant bonding, decreased stress and anxiety, feelings of contentment and security, improved social interactions. 1. Well-being. Oxytocin can cause feelings of well-being, such as calm, decreased fear, and human bonding. It may also play a role in learning and memory. 2. Psychiatric therapy. Oxytocin has been proposed as a possible treatment for social phobia, autism, and postpartum depression. It may help improve interpersonal and individual well-being. This is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult a professional. Generative AI is experimental.
Mention two ovarian hormone and give one function of each.
Ovaries produce two main hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which play important roles in the menstrual cycle, reproductive development, and pregnancy. Estrogen, a group of hormones that regulate the menstrual cycle, breast development, fertility, and pregnancy. Estrogen also helps keep bones healthy. Progesterone regulates the menstrual cycle, maintains pregnancy, strengthens the pelvic floor muscles, prevents milk production, and helps the unborn baby to develop. Here are some more details about estrogen and progesterone. 1. Estrogen production. Estrogen production is highest in the first half of the menstrual cycle before ovulation. 2. Progesterone production. Progesterone production rises during the second half of the menstrual cycle to prepare the uterus for a fertilized egg. 3. Estrogen therapy. Estrogen therapy can help manage menopause symptoms such as hot flashes, vaginal dryness, and mood changes. And 4. Ovaries also produce androgens. The ovaries also make small amounts of androgens, which are male hormones.
Function of cerebrospinal fluid.
Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, has several functions, including 1. Protection. CSF protects the brain and spinal cord from injury by acting as a cushion and shock absorber. It also protects the brain from blood pressure fluctuations. 2. Nutrition. CSF provides nutrients to the brain and spinal cord. 3. Waste removal. CSF removes waste products from the brain. 4. Homeostasis. CSF regulates the chemical environment of the central nervous system and the interstitial fluid of the brain parenchyma. And 5. Transport. CSF is a vehicle for transporting nutrients and waste products. CSF is a clear, colorless fluid that flows in and around the brain and spinal cord, which are part of the central nervous system. It's produced in the brain's ventricles by the choroid plexus and the ependymal lining cells. CSF circulates through the brain and spinal cord in a continuous flow. A CSF analysis is a group of tests that use a sample of CSF to help diagnose diseases of the brain and spinal cord.
CSF helps in exchange of nutrients and wastage between CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, helps in exchange of nutrients and wastage between the blood and the brain tissue. CSF supplies oxygen to the brain. Spinal cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, means the cerebrospinal fluid. Spinal fluid. State the application of DNA fingerprinting. State the application. Analyze the function of CSF.
According to Zimira, The Ohio State University, analyzing a function means telling your story, describing how you arrived at your conclusions.
Analyze the
A
function of
complete analysis
CSF.
includes exact information from algebra and global. Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, has many functions, including 1. Protection. CSF protects the brain and spinal cord by cushioning the spaces around them. It acts as a shock absorber and provides buoyancy to prevent the brain from compressing blood vessels and cranial nerves. 2. Nutrient and waste transport. CSF carries nutrients to the brain and spine, and removes waste products from the body. 3. Homeostasis. CSF plays an important role in the homeostasis and metabolism of the central nervous system. 4. Brain volume regulation. CSF regulates brain volume through osmoregulation. 5. Cooling. CSF cools heat generated by neural activity. And 6. Blood flow regulation. CSF plays a vital role in the cerebral autoregulation of cerebral blood flow. CSF is produced in the choroid plexus, which is located within each brain ventricle. The total volume of CSF in an adult is about 150 milliliters, but the body produces as much as 500 milliliters daily. A sample of CSF can be taken from around the spinal cord via lumbar puncture. This can be used to test intracranial pressure and indicate diseases.
CSF helps in exchange of nutrients and wastage between the blood and the brain tissue. CSF supplies oxygen to the brain. Supplies oxygen to the brain. Function of prostaglandins in semen.
Prostaglandins are chemical messengers that perform many functions in the body, including 1. Inflammation. Prostaglandins are a key part of the inflammatory response and are produced in greater quantities in inflamed tissue. 2. Blood flow. Prostaglandins can cause blood vessels to widen, vasodilation, or narrow, vasoconstriction. They can also increase blood flow velocity in skeletal muscle microcirculation. 3. Pain. Prostaglandins can influence how pain is perceived. 4. Menstruation. Prostaglandins cause the muscles and blood vessels of the uterus to contract, which is why periods can be painful. 5. Labor. Prostaglandins can induce labor by causing uterine contractions. 6. Bone metabolism. Prostaglandins can stimulate and inhibit bone resorption and formation. 7. Eye pressure. Prostaglandin analogues are used to treat glaucoma by lowering intraocular pressure. Stomach acid. Prostaglandins can inhibit the secretion of acid in the stomach. Gastrointestinal tract. Prostaglandins can contract or relax smooth muscle in the gastrointestinal tract. Hormones. Prostaglandins can regulate several hormones. And sperm. Prostaglandins can influence sperm density and function. Prostaglandins are synthesized in almost every cell of the body. They were first discovered in human semen in the 1930s by Ulf von Euler of Sweden. This is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult a professional. Generative AI is experimental.
the functions of hormones in female? Estrogen, progesterone. What are the functions of hormones in?
Have a look at these pictures,
What are the function of hormones in?
showing pictures that match.
What are the functions of hormones in female? Estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing hormone, and oxytocin.
Here are the functions of some hormones in the female body. 1. Estrogen helps develop female sexual characteristics, including breasts and the endometrium, and regulates the menstrual cycle. Estrogen also thickens the lining of the uterus before ovulation and is important for the functioning of the uterus and breasts. 2. Progesterone thickens the lining of the uterus each month, supports an early pregnancy, and prepares the breasts for milk production. Progesterone levels increase during ovulation and spike during pregnancy. 3. Luteinizing hormone, LH, triggers ovulation and the development of the corpus luteum. And 4. Oxytocin triggers the contractions of the uterus that happen during labor. Oxytocin is also released into the bloodstream in response to sexual activity and plays a role in social bonding, love, and reproduction. Hormones are chemical messengers that coordinate functions in the body, affecting many processes, including metabolism, growth and development, emotions and mood, fertility and sexual function, sleep, and blood pressure. This is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult a professional. Generative AI is experimental.
Estrogen regulates menstrual cycle and reproductive system, develops and maintains female characteristic. Progesterone prepares uterus for implantation of a fertilized egg, maintain pregnancy and support embryonic growth. Luteinizing hormone triggers ovulation and stimulates progesterone. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contraction during childbirth and lactation. Helps regulate milk letdown during breastfeeding. Name the ovarian hormone and give their function. And give ovarian hormone, not various hormone.
The ovaries secrete two main hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen, produced by growing follicles, estrogen regulates the development of follicles and secondary sexual characteristics. Estrogen levels are highest in the first half of the menstrual cycle, before ovulation. Progesterone, secreted by the corpus luteum, progesterone prepares the uterus for a fertilized egg. Progesterone levels rise in the second half of the menstrual cycle. Progesterone also stimulates the formation of alveoli for milk storage and secretion in mammary glands. Estrogen and progesterone are steroid hormones that play an important role in female traits, such as breast development, body shape, and body hair. They are also involved in the menstrual cycle, fertility, and pregnancy. The ovaries also produce small amounts of androgens, which are male hormones.
It is secreted by progesterone. It is secreted by the corpus luteum of the ovary after ovulation. It is essential for the thickening of the uterine endometrium, thus preparing the uterus for implantation of the fertilized ovum. It is responsible for the development of mammary gland during pregnancy. Estrogen, it is secreted by developing follicles. Estradiol is the main estrogen. It is responsible for the development of secondary sexual character in female. Relax inhibin. Relaxin. It is secreted by the corpus luteum of the ovary. At the end of the gestation period, it relaxes the cervix of the pregnant female and the ligaments of the pelvic girdle to ease out of the birth process. Inhibin. It is secreted by the corpus luteum. Inhibin inhibits FSH and GnRH production. Analyze the function of CSF. Analyst.
Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, has many functions, including 1. Protection. CSF protects the brain and spinal cord by cushioning the spaces around them and acting as a shock absorber. It also provides neutral buoyancy to prevent the brain from compressing the blood vessels and cranial nerves. 2. Transport. CSF transports nutrients and waste products to and from the brain and spinal cord. 3. Homeostasis. CSF plays a role in the homeostasis and metabolism of the central nervous system. 4. Regulation. CSF regulates brain volume through osmoregulation. It also plays a vital role in the cerebral autoregulation of cerebral blood flow. And 5. Cooling. CSF cools heat generated by neural activity. CSF is a colorless, alkaline, watery fluid that fills the subarachnoid space in the ventricular system around and inside the brain and spinal cord. The total volume of CSF in an adult is about 150 milliliters, but the body produces as much as 500 milliliters daily. A sample of CSF can be taken from around the spinal cord by a lumbar puncture to test intracranial pressure and indicate diseases.